Hello, Professor. This is Jelda De Silva, and I'll be your host for today's interview. We are thrilled for this opportunity to speak to you and get your insights specifically in terms of the relevance of MBA in today's day and time. Thanks a lot for connecting with Pagal Guy and for being part of this interview.
Thank you very much for this invite, and I'm very excited about discussing this topic with you. So, you go ahead and ask your questions.
Yes, sir. So, reflecting on your journey, we see a deep connection with academics. You have had roles with Bennett University, NIIT University, OP Jindal University, and now Badruka School of Management. What inspires you, sir, in order to take the path of academia?
This is a question that I don't know really if there is a single moment in time which has kind of inspired me to get into academia. But I can tell you that I was born to a professor. So I think it starts there. My father was a professor, and his life had a huge influence on me. I've also been very, very fortunate to get exposed to some fantastic institutions, both in India and abroad. And with fantastic institutions comes fantastic professors. And I think they have a very important role to play in me pursuing a career in academics. In fact, after graduating from IIT Kanpur, I actually pursued an MBA. And my goal was not to be in academics, but was to get into a corporate role. But I realized that I really wanted to get more deeper into research and academics. And in particular, my PhD mentor at the University of Washington, Seattle had a big role to play in this by encouraging me to come back after my MBA to finish my PhD. It was a long journey. Reflecting back, I've had, as you said, various experiences. I've been in academics now for over 35 years, all the way from starting as a lecturer to an assistant professor, to an associate professor, to a full professor, to a dean. And now this is my fourth vice chancellorship position, institution building. So it's been very satisfying, very gratifying. I think if I had to do this all over again, I would not have any issues with it. This has been an immensely rewarding journey. And I think having been in so many different institutions has also given me a very varied perspective of what institution building is all about from a global perspective. So I think that's the best way I can answer your question.
Got it, sir. So, as you mentioned, you've been associated with so many institutions over the journey that you have had. Each institution standing for its own merit as well, known for its own strong points, known for its own advantages. Sir, in your opinion, what are the three factors that renders MBA relevant in today's time?
So I think what we are looking at today, especially in the corporate world, is that you can't remain unidimensional. You can't be just somebody who is excelling in technology, for example, because the corporate world today is highly volatile, highly uncertain, and you have to always deal with a lot of ambiguity. And with that kind of a workplace today, an MBA is a degree which becomes even more relevant because it doesn't necessarily focus only on core fundamental skills, but actually is a degree that helps you improve your or develop your critical skills. You ask for three factors. So I'm thinking critical skills. It obviously enhances a lot of career opportunities, and also at the end of the day helps you cultivate a global perspective. I think these ensure that MBA graduates are well prepared for the next workplace and challenges of the modern world, modern business landscape, which is to drive innovation and contribute to their organization's overall success.
Got it, sir. So you did mention global interface as well as technical skills or expertise that the students require in today's time to excel at their career. How is Badruka School of Management incorporating this in their curriculum to ensure that the students become industry ready?
Well, there are many aspects to it. So the first critical factor is, honing on your critical skills and soft skills. And we have a very strong curriculum focused on what we call extra skills and perspectives, which helps students develop holistically and hone in on their problem solving, critical thinking, uh, persuasive writing skills. They are also exposed to the modern technology toolkits such as AI, ML, and all that stuff. So that's very relevant. Um, and I think the second part is that our curriculum has to constantly evolve, keeping in mind how businesses are getting affected in the future. There are two, I think, big themes that are going to be the defining themes for the next decade of businesses, and that's climate and sustainability, and also technology. And how do students cope with these two issues at workplaces? So, how do they start thinking from the UN SDG goals, climate sustainability issues? How do they think about their carbon footprints of their organizations? How do they think about zero emissions? That's going to be very relevant. And the next and most important issue is going to be how technology is redefining everything we do at the workplace, and how comfortable are students in managing this new environment in a ways. And I think so those are the two things from a curriculum perspective that we are focused on. And the third thing is that by having faculty who have been exposed to world-class institutions teaching at Badruka also kind of brings a perspective, a global perspective to the classroom.
Got it, sir. So you did mention that there are these elements that you have already incorporated in your curriculum. Could you maybe give us an example of the kind of project or any sort of add-on program or certification that Badruka is currently running to make students more industry ready, to provide them with the practical skills that are required to go out there and start with their corporate job?
So I think there are essentially a mandatory 8-week internship that students have to complete at the end of their first year. And that's the first practical experience that they have to work on. Secondly, they have to work on a live project during their second year, first semester, which mostly focuses on climate and sustainability and works in these areas of sustainability and development goals that are mapped to the UN. So that's the second aspect. And the third aspect is that the students are also given the option to pursue a semester abroad in lieu of one of their internships. So these three are very experiential in a ways. Uh, I think the interesting part with the Badruka School of Management's academic delivery model is that we are not prescriptive to the faculty. We have faculty from top institutions with credentials from Wharton, from Washington, from Ohio, from the IIMs, the ISBs. And therefore, it's very hard for us to be prescriptive because each one of them have such a distinguished and long career in academics that they bring their own perspectives to the classroom.
Got it, sir. Sir, as the saying goes, whenever a student considers to go and do an MBA, the first advice that they get is understand what course you are doing, understand what objective you have from achieving, this course, and then maybe commit to a particular course or a particular degree or particular institution. What, according to you, sir, are the three factors that a student should consider while evaluating the best fit of MBA degree for themselves?
Well, first and foremost, one has to be very careful about what is an MBA. An MBA is a professional degree. And it is essentially geared towards that student who has a desire to pursue a career in corporates. In for the vast majority, that's the number one thing. So if you're not interested in pursuing a career in the corporate world, I don't think the MBA is necessarily a good degree for you. Number one. Number two, I think the second issue you have to ask yourselves is that if you're a current working professional with 1 or 2 or 3 years of work experience, you probably have some knowledge about what's happening in the workplace. And at that point in time, you are better ready to understand what you're looking for. Most students who come out of a bachelor's degree and start a career in a corporate job very quickly realize that to move up the ladder, the corporate ladder, they have to widen their perspective and be able to start looking at a host of issues which go beyond simply being a business analyst or a technology guy or a lady or whatever it is. And therefore, the next thing they should look for is a curriculum, a school which has a curriculum that meets their needs. The third thing is to kind of focus on what is their perspective when they're joining an MBA program. Are they looking for a part-time evening program, or are they looking at the other end at a full-time residential program? Because each of them are extremely different in nature. The fourth thing is, what kind of faculty is going to be delivering the program, and what are the takeaways? And I think finally, the fifth question they need to ask themselves is this something that the rigor, the academic rigor, is something that they can handle or not? Okay, and I think all that stuff then kind of defines the right fit for them. And I don't think there's a single answer that one can say, okay, this is it. It's about, are you a good fit for that program? Is the program delivering what the students' expectations are? And everything put together is what defines a good MBA program to me.
Got it, sir. I think that's a good advice to be to understand oneself, and are you able to commit to that dedication and discipline that is
I think it's very important. I think we need to shed the herd mentality. We should not necessarily just go to a school that we think has a good name, because it may not be something that can deliver what you're looking for. You can go to a very large program with thousands of students. You can go to a smaller program where the education is more personalized. You can go to a program which is a full-time residential program, because that's a extremely different situation where you're building lifelong friends and working in teams with peer learning. So I think it's not something you can define just off the top of the, just you can't just say, okay, this is it, this is the program. If the program A is the world's best, then I need to go to program A.
completely, sir. So, shifting our focus to the global business world, we are currently seeing a significant increase in desire and the demand among Indian management and leadership students to obtain globally competitive degrees. What, according to you, sir, are the factors or the trends that are contributing towards this growing demand for a global business landscape? And degrees that specifically focus on global outcome and global experience.
Again, I think it goes back to the 2 or 3 things I've repeatedly said before also. Number one, the world is more and more globalized. So this increasing trends of globalization continues. The advent or the effect of technological advances and what's happening in the workplace, and a growing emphasis on sustainability are, I believe, key drivers behind the increased demand for globally competitive degrees among Indian management and leadership aspirants.
Got it, sir. So when you see India has always been a very large contributor of international students to almost every Ivy League institution that currently exists on this planet Earth. However, India itself has not been able to establish itself as a destination for MBA education. What, according to you, sir, are the two advantages that make India a great candidate or a great perspective for establishing itself as a business business hub or business education hub? And what possibly are the factors that are currently restraining us from doing so?
I think let's start with the second question. Um, I think the biggest problem we have right now in India is a lack of international good faculty, which actually hampers our effort to become a globally competitive destination for MBA programs. And that is the single most difficult problem to circumvent in a ways, or to get to kind of get over. So that's the number one deterrent, I believe, that makes India a not so desirable place for global education, especially from an MBA perspective. And I think I'll answer the first question. The one most important factor that India can leverage is its cost advantage. A comparable MBA degree will cost significantly lower in India than it would in some of the internationally well-renowned schools. So if we can somehow build on that cost advantage and plug the gap in getting access to globally world-class renowned faculty to deliver the programs, it is only then, I believe, that India can become a destination for global MBAs. And I
Perfect.
think we can do it in isolation. I think we have to do it in partnerships. So if we build strong partnerships across across international boundaries to leverage some of these things, it's very doable.
Yes, and I agree with you, sir. Because in the last 2 years that we are currently seeing Indian B schools going out and having great collaborations with institutions across the globe. Recently, we have IIM Bangalore considering a campus in somewhere in Africa as well. So that those are certain news that comes with which is a promising thing for India to push itself as a education destinations, I believe.
Yeah.
Perfect, sir. So you are somebody who has held leadership roles across various institutions. You have been in the academic world for the past 30 plus years. What, according to you, sir, are qualities of a good leader, or what makes an individual a good leader?
Tough question. I don't think, again, I have a single answer, but I have a few qualities that I would say may define a good leader. To begin with, a leader should be a visionary thinker. Okay? And the second quality could be somebody who has an innovative mindset. I think a good leader is somebody who has integrity. Integrity is a very loosely used word, but it is the most important thing a leader needs to have, is how the leader conducts himself or herself ethically. And most importantly, how accountable is the leader for the actions of his team. There are other kind of criteria. A leader should have the ability to communicate clearly and concisely. A leader is somebody who listens actively. You know, these are over time. I'm not saying that I'm a leadership guru. And I think, last but not least, a leader is somebody who demonstrates a lot of empathy, especially post-COVID. This is a quality that I believe leaders need to work on even more, is to develop empathy, strengthen their emotional intelligence quotient, and lead with compassion. There are other aspects. Decisiveness. Sometimes the leaders have to be very decisive. They don't necessarily always have to be very democratic, take everybody along, just from the perspective of getting work done. And last but not least, a leader should exhibit confidence.
Perfect. So very well said. So you have had this rewarding journey, being in the academic world, inspiring thousands of students as you went across with the journey. If one had to ask you if you could go back and do one thing differently, what would it be, sir?
If I had to go back in time and change one thing and do it differently, it's pretty clear to me today. I would place a much, much, much stronger emphasis on work-life balance.
True, sir, true.
I think today's, and again, I think the recent experiences of the pandemic, the changing nature of work, the ability to do things while you're not physically necessarily present at a physical workplace, technological advancements. If we don't consider all these advancements and stick to our old mindsets that people have to show up to work from 9 to 6, I think it's a flawed argument. I think today's world requires a much deeper understanding of this work-life balance issue. And I think if, as a leader, I can change and focus more on understanding work-life balance, I believe I will foster a healthier, more productive environment for myself and for my team, ultimately leading to more sustainable success.
That's wonderful advice, actually. So, specifically in terms of Gen Z that you're currently dealing with, the FOMO effect is so much that sometimes students or candidates at times would charge across towards their goal, completely ignoring the other personal factor that they have, that they need to nurture as well. So that's wonderful advice. Thanks a lot, sir, for sharing this with our viewers. So now as we reach the end, almost the end of this interview, I have to ask this. Since students are currently in the process of committing towards MBA degrees or committing towards management degrees, we are at a crucial point where students are going through shortlisting. They're going through admission processes, trying to understand which institution they should get to. What, according to you, sir, should a specific aspect that the student should consider while committing to a particular B school?
I think it goes back to your previous question.
Okay.
I think choosing the right business school requires the consideration of how well a program will suit his or her career goals. The school's reputation and network is important, and the effectiveness of its career services office. I think a student needs to get into conducting thorough research, seek insights from current and past students and alumni, and prioritize these factors before considering any program in which they're interested.
Perfect, sir. So, any advice on how a student should approach their 2 years of MBA, how to make the best out of it?
I think some time-honored skills are necessary. The first year of an MBA program is about a student really working on mindsets and strategies such that he or she can maximize the experience and set a strong foundation for his or her future success. I think 3-4 points. A student coming in to an MBA program must set some clear goals. What is his or her personal and professional objectives? How much to kind of balance out academic excellence versus non-academic activities? It is the perfect opportunity to build a network amongst peers and with the faculty, which will last for a long time. An MBA program also offers tremendous opportunity to join clubs and organizations, or even start new clubs and organizations to demonstrate leadership capabilities. Kind of balancing it out, how many to attend, what to do, not to do. An MBA degree is useless without practical experience. So I think focusing on meaningful internships, projects, participating in case competitions, and last but not least, working on himself or herself to develop their personal development portfolio, whether it's soft skills, but most importantly, it's about managing time. An MBA program is a very demanding program, and again, it'll come back to balancing work and life. There are many other ideas, from being organized. I mean, some people are naturally organized, some people are, not very organized. So, I mean, a student will actually discover himself or herself during the first year of the MBA program.
Perfect, sir. Thanks a lot, sir. I think this was a very, very interesting experience having this conversation with you, getting your understanding on the relevance of MBA. Before you leave us, sir, my one last question, which I kind of ask almost every leader that we meet. So, what, according to you, is your personal definition of success?
I've never thought about it.
So maybe now is something that you can consider.
I mean, there are some classical thought processes. One says you can define success as something about being linked to happiness. The question is, are you happy? So, right. So I think then you will ask me the other question: what does happiness mean to you? So success can be measured in various metrics. For somebody, success could be to be a CEO of an organization. For somebody, success could be being very rich. For somebody, success could be philanthropy and giving. For somebody, success could be having a balanced work life outcome. And therefore, I think you can't define it today. I think you as an individual need to define what you want and what will you consider success. I'm leaving it as an open question again. Somebody asked John Lennon, what do you want to do when you grow up? He said, I want to be happy. So the interviewer said, well, you didn't understand the meaning of my question. He said, well, then you don't understand the meaning of life. So it'll kind of make sense of these two quotes. And good luck to you guys. And thank you for having me on this discussion.
Perfect, sir. You gave us a very beautiful answer, sir. Thanks a lot for that. Our viewers will definitely appreciate it, and thanks a lot for connecting with Pagal Guy. You have a wonderful, wonderful day ahead, sir.
Okay, thank you so much. Bye-bye.